Ancestors of modern humans, particularly Homo erectus, are credited with inventing the so-called Achillean hand axes around 1.7 million years ago. These tools were used for over a million years and proved to be highly effective for butchering animals. Some researchers also suggest that they may have been used as weapons. One significant site where evidence of early human activity has been found is Aorus, which served as a camp for hundreds of thousands of years. The layers containing the subject of today's discussion date between 400,000 and 700,000 years ago. By this time, Homo erectus had already spread across much of the world, and new hominin species, such as Homo habilis. These hominins had larger brains, more modern anatomical features, and were associated with more advanced tools. While it is possible that the hominins at Aorus were members of Homo heidelbergensis, the lack of physical remains leaves us with uncertainty. However, what we do know is that these hominins were proficient hunters. At the Aorus site, the butchered remains of various animals, including elephants, zebras, giraffes, and the primate Therapithecus, have been discovered. These early humans likely employed simple wooden spears to ambush and kill some of these animals. While others may have been scavenged, it is also possible that they practiced persistence hunting, a method in which hunters chase down prey until it collapses from exhaustion before delivering the final blow. Given that Homo erectus was capable of long-distance running, this method could have been an effective hunting strategy. Regardless of how these animals were killed, their remains were ultimately brought back to their camp at Aorus. Once at the camp, the hand axes were used to cut and consume the meat, which was likely eaten raw. The animals found at Aorus are fairly typical for Middle Pleistocene Africa, except for one, Therapithecus oswaldi. This primate was not an ordinary monkey. Weighing around 140 pounds, approximately the size of a female gorilla, it was a formidable animal. Large males could reach up to 160 pounds in some cases. With sharp canines and powerful muscles, Therapithecus oswaldi was not to be taken lightly. The genus Therapithecus still exists today in the form of Therapithecus gelada, commonly known as the gelada. These fascinating primates live in the Ethiopian highlands. Modern male geladas are significantly smaller than their prehistoric relatives, averaging around 40 pounds, but they still possess an intimidating presence. They are covered in thick fur, with a dark face and a bright red chest, a distinguishing feature of the species. Despite their primarily grass-based diet, these primates are far from gentle. Violent confrontations between competing males are common, with their large fangs used to target opponents' faces. Entire groups sometimes clash over territory or control of females, showcasing their aggressive nature. Modern geladas provide the closest living example when considering Therapithecus. It is likely that oswaldi shared similar physical traits, including a unique coat of fur and a bright red chest. One can only imagine the terrifying sight of an alpha male oswaldi flipping its lip to reveal its massive teeth, a sight that must have been harrowing for early human hunters. One interesting aspect inferred from skeletal remains is that Therapithecus oswaldi was not an adept climber. In fact, it was even less adapted to tree or cliff climbing than modern geladas, which themselves are rarely observed scaling trees. This vulnerability may have made them an attractive, albeit dangerous, target for early human hunters. Therapithecus oswaldi likely lived in large social groups. Typically, one dominant male led the group, accompanied by several subordinate males. Hunting such a primate would have been a perilous task, especially given that male Homo erectus individuals were only about 5'5", tall and weighed between 100 to 150 pounds. This means that larger Therapithecus individuals would have outweighed most, if not all, Homo erectus individuals. Excavations at Aorus have uncovered a wealth of evidence pointing to systematic hunting. Researchers discovered 4,700 stone artifacts alongside the remains of 90 Therapithecus individuals. These remains were concentrated within a relatively small area, approximately 12 to 15 square meters. It is difficult to estimate the exact duration of the occupation period, though it appears to have been relatively brief. Therapithecus is an extremely rare animal in the fossil record, and the presence of so many individuals in one place immediately aroused suspicion among researchers. Furthermore, nearly every bone was broken, and the association with stone tools strongly suggested butchery. 3 hypotheses have been formulated to explain this phenomena. A non-hominin predator was responsible for the accumulation and breakage of the bones. Hominins were responsible for the accumulation and breakage of the primate bones. An unknown factor such as disease or starvation led to a mass death of and the bones were broken in some post-mortem event. In order to resolve this question, researchers closely examined the remains. Of the 90 Therapithecus individuals preserved at Aorus, 76 were juveniles and 14 were adults. Approximately 70% of these individuals fell between 6 months and 3 years of age. This is unusual because, in modern gelada groups, Individuals of this age typically only comprise about 36% of the population. This suggests a bias toward hunting younger and smaller individuals. The mortality pattern of the Aorus therapithecus most closely resembles that produced by attritional mortality, the gradual loss of individuals over time rather than a catastrophic event. This aligns with the idea that hominins or other predators selectively hunted the younger members of the group. Additionally, this evidence rules out hypothesis 3. By analyzing skeletal damage patterns, the heads of the animals appeared to have been targeted with significant force, possibly with blunt weapons. No cut marks were found on the bones, though they were broken to free muscle attachments. The bones exhibited high frequencies of flaking, splintering, and irregular fractures, suggesting systematic butchery by hominins. At a relatively nearby site in Olduvai Gorge, another Therapithecus specimen was found with evidence of human hunting. The skull bore a massive depressed fracture, surrounded by deep grooves and scratches on the right parietal. This injury would have been fatal if inflicted while the animal was alive. The hominins may have used a wooden or bone club to smash the primate's head, or possibly a stone head. The fact that two separate sites show evidence of Therapithecus hunting suggests that, while it may not have been common, it was certainly practiced. Hunting Therapithecus would have required specific strategies. The Hadza people of Tanzania provide a useful comparison, as they hunt baboons by encircling their roosting area in a grove of trees or a small rock outcrop. They then make loud noises and shoot arrows to drive the baboons into an ambush, where they are clubbed to death. The hominins at Aorus may have employed a similar technique, encircling the Therapithecus group, avoiding the dominant male, and waiting for a younger individual to break away in an attempt to flee. This is only one of many possible hunting methods they could have used. The question remains, why hunt such dangerous prey? The region was rich with alternative food sources, including ungulates, turtles, fish, insects, nuts, and plants. However, many prey animals are inherently dangerous. Hippopotamuses, rhinoceroses, buffaloes, and elephants are all capable of killing a hominin in a single motion. Even antelopes and warthogs can inflict serious injuries. Compared to these animals, Therapithecus may have been an easier target, as they were neither fast runners nor skilled climbers. Some researchers propose that hunting Therapithecus may have had social or cultural significance. Among the Hadza, baboon hunting elevates a hunter's social status. Similarly, it is possible that early humans engaged in Therapithecus hunts as a rite of passage or a seasonal ritual. Young males may have been required to prove themselves by participating in a hunt, or even by sneaking up at night to kill a Therapithecus alone. Our species has existed for roughly 300,000 years, and the people of Aorus lived only 200,000 years before the first Homo sapiens. These were complex individuals with emotions, social structures, and traditions. Their hunts, tools, and survival strategies are all part of the human story, a history shaped by courage and ingenuity. As new discoveries emerge, we continue piecing together the greatest story ever told, the story of who we are and where we came from.